Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Actually It's a Mirror, where I talk news, celebrity, gossip, hot topics. You name it, I talk about it. I like to give my unique perspective on what I think is going on in the media, in these YouTube streets. But please be reminded that everything I say here on this channel is allegedly and just my opinion because I don't know these people. That's right, I do not know these people. This is just my interpretation. Take what's published and give my opinion about it. So today we're going to be talking about Kanye West's new song with Pusha T. I believe it's called Rock and Roll. I was able to get a copy of the lyrics and I kind of wanted to go through them with you all because I think he says some interesting yet very cryptic things about his relationship with Kim Kardashian. If you're not familiar, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian were married for like almost 7 years. They recently went through a divorce. Kim was declared legally single in March of this year, and they are trying to move forward with co parenting as a family. That said, there's been a lot of tumultuous behavior between both Kim and Kanye in the media, with both parties being accused of harassing the other. Kim being accused of planting stories about Kanye West, which I believe. Kanye being accused of stalking Kim, which I don't believe. I think it was just a lot of him trying to defend himself against the stories that were planted about him and about the emotional gaslighting he had experienced throughout their relationship for many, many years. In this song, shares some very problematic language, some very concerning, emotionally concerning lyrics that I want to break down with you today and just give you my interpretation on what I think he is trying to convey. If you disagree with me, please feel free to comment down below and let me know if you have an alternative interpretation of these lyrics. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what you feel about it. Do you think Kim gaslit Kanye West? What role you feel he plays in his demise? And if you think there's a path to healing as we move forward for both parties involved. So let's get into it. Kanye's verse starts out by saying, I accepted you, the lie. So he refers to her. You know how they say, like, he refers to her as an object or as a like a noun or an adjective, I guess. Like, she is the lie. He doesn't say she's Kim. He doesn't say she's my ex-wife. He doesn't say the mother of my kids. He doesn't say someone that I loved intently for many, many years. He says, I accepted you, the lie. Meaning that when he looks at her, he sees her as a liar. Now, I think a lot of what Kim Kardashian does in the media is meant to kind of be sensationalized. It's meant to be a whole game of smoke and mirrors, manipulation, control, perpetrating a narrative. I think Kim Kardashian in her earlier years was very transparent about how she would call the paparazzi on herself, how she would frequently do her makeup and go to these very high end places just to have her photo taken. All the while she had no reason being there. Like, she would go to these exclusive restaurants, sit at the bar, order a water, and pray to God that the paparazzi would snap a clip of her. And if you're not living under a rock, she's built the majority of her career in the early stages, at least, on lying, cheating, and allegedly stealing to get to where she is today. Now, I only say alleged because I wasn't in court, but there is documented evidence that Kim Kardashian stole over $100,000 from Brandy Norwood, stage name Brandy, in order to start her eBay business of selling and reselling clothes. It was, they kept the lawsuit under wraps because at the time Brandy and Kim were friends and they didn't want to like defame her or make her look bad in the media. So they kept it under wraps. But this is like a real lawsuit, guys. So if you think about it, Kim's career seems to have been built on a lot to begin with, and about manipulation and controlling the way that she's perceived in the media. Now, that could be an excellent marketing strategy for someone who's trying to build their brand. But I'm not saying, listen, she didn't do what she had to do. I'm just saying that that's what she did. And so when Kanye refers to her in the first line, I accepted you, the lie, meaning you are the lie. Everything about you is a lie. There's no truth here. That it has been so much chaos and trauma between us that there's no longer a delineation between, okay, Kim, are you being truthful with me, or is this a sensationalized lie that you're telling in order to create this narrative you're trying to perpetuate? He then goes on to say, there's no sound. What? Can you hear me? If you if you can hear me and you're in the chat, let me know, because I've been talking this whole time. You're saying there's no sound. Um, hold on, let me check from my other phone thing and see if there's sound. Hold on. I'm gonna see if there's sound. If not, I will come back in. Do you have sound? I'm gonna see if there's sound. Oh, okay. There is sound. So if you don't have, oh, thank you. If you don't have sound, Shelly, I'm sorry, but there is sound. I just checked from somewhere else. Hi Sandra. Thank you everybody for letting me know there's sound. So let me get back into it. So he goes on to say in the second line of the lyrics, at all the times selfish, thinking you were mine. So he goes, I accepted you the lie all the times, selfish, thinking you was mine. So it almost alludes to the fact that Kim Kardashian had probably been secretly cheating on Kanye for quite some time, or either that, or on the contrary, which is what I think he's really talking about. I think he's saying, I accepted you the lie all the time, selfish, thinking you was mine. I think he's trying to say, thinking you were true to me, thinking you were being honest with me. I accepted you thinking that even though you had a character flaw of sensationalizing your life and lying when it benefited you, I thought that when it came to you and I, that we had a deeper understanding, we had a closer bond, a better commitment, and that you were being true to me. You were mine. I was your safe space. I was the one place we could go together and be truthful and authentic with each other. I thought you had my back. And so that's how I interpret that lyric. He goes on to say, I showed up, then you arrived. Now, I want to stop there and point on that. When he says it, it's the metaphor. That's why I love Kanye. Like I love Kanye. Like the way you can like really immerse yourself into his lyrics of all his songs is so brilliant to me. So he's basically saying, I showed up. Like of all those years I wanted you, I pursued you when I was just a low level producer, not really famous. I was in the background. I saw you in the studio with Ray J, and I wanted to approach you. I saw you on the scene. I wanted you, and you never wanted me. You never wanted me. You friend zoned me hard. You said that I wasn't your type. You dissed me. But let's think about it. What made Kanye West desirable to Kim Kardashian, guys? Really think about it. And you know what it was? It was Amber Rose. I really sat back and I thought to myself, what made Kim? It was two things. One, it was that 72-day divorce she had with Chris Humphries. You know that once that happened, once that went public and they were being outed as fraudsters and that taking advantage of the network and basically having E pay for this multi-million-dollar wedding only to get divorced after 72 days. Kim Kardashian was getting so much negative press at that time. Her show was getting so much negative press. Their empire was on the verge of a media onslaught that they probably weren't going to be able to recover from. So, what did Kim need? Kim needed a hot rapper with a lot of buzz who could help rehabilitate her image and make her an honest woman. She needed a rebound, and she needed somebody that the people would believe. If we think back to before Kanye got with Kim, Kanye was Jay-Z's little brother. He was in an echelon of Black culture that not a lot of people get to make it to. He was bumping elbows with the elite, with the likes of designers like Anna Wintour and Vogue and Karl Lagerfeld and all of these very high-end companies. He was rubbing elbows with powerhouse people as a result of his relationship with Rock Nation, with his own creative genius, with Jay-Z, with his best friend who ended up getting that deal with Louis Vuitton for Off-White. Virgil, he had a lot of notoriety being built up for him. And Amber Rose was the freaking creme de la creme of culture at the time. She had that beautiful bald head, that milky skin, that tall, statuesque model body, but still got that vixen look. It was a lot of buzz. And Kanye was like, this is my muse. They gave each other notoriety. And Kim, who was insanely jealous, because this all ties back to Black China. I'm telling you guys, this stuff run deep. Kim, who was insanely jealous of not being a part of stripper culture and Black culture, needed that vibe. And she used and leveraged the relationship between Black China and Amber Rose to figure out what was hot. And who was hot? Kanye West was hot. And so she had a relationship with him. She knew that Kanye would marry her. She was certain of this fact because he had been chasing her for so many years. He had professed his love so many times. I think Kim said Kanye proposed to her a few times even before he actually proposed. They were at a restaurant once and he didn't have a ring, but he saw that she had a ring on from Chris Humphries. And she said he was emotionally devastated and said, "You were supposed to marry me." And she said she spent the whole rest of the evening putting her ring underneath her leg because she could see how he was emotionally destroyed by her getting married to somebody else. So she knew she had the power over this man long before she became his wife. And so when that fiasco happened with Chris Humphries and she was looking for a quick rebound, she called the one man she knew would give it to her. And that was Kanye West. So that's what I think he's saying. I showed up and then you arrived. I showed up as being a boss. I showed up with Amber Rose on the scene. I showed up as hot. Amber made him hot. Amber made Kanye West that dude, before Amber Rose, Kanye was just Kanye. He was like somebody, I would imagine like a Pharrell, right? From a creative perspective. But when you see Pharrell, you think Pharrell. Pharrell's not a sex symbol. I mean, Pharrell, everybody might like Pharrell from an attractive perspective, but for me, I see Pharrell as just like a creative genius. I don't see him as a sex symbol. And Amber Rose made Kanye West sexy. She made Kanye West sexy. She made Kanye West that guy from an image perspective of having a baddie on his arm and being able to move different with that like model type, cool type. So that's what he was saying there. I showed up, then you arrived. I thought I could turn the tides. Meaning he thought that once he came along and showed her these new circles, these new opportunities, these new ways to get around, that he would help her turn the tides and make her realize that you don't have to plant stories. You don't have to sensationalize your life through reality television in order to be relevant. Baby, I got more for you. We can build a life together. We can build a family. We can move to Wyoming. We can venture into other avenues. We can become real estate moguls, which is what all the stuff that they were doing. I can show you there is more. I can turn the tides and make you more than a reality pop princess from keeping up with the Kardashians. But he couldn't turn the tides. He couldn't turn the tides. And then this is the most critical line of everything he says, you guys. He says, "How I make it through the shy, get to you, and almost died." My heart broke into pieces when I read this line. And that broke into pieces for a few reasons. I follow Kanye West. And back in 2016, 2017, 18 era, he had a opioid addiction that he was very public about. And the reason for his opioid addiction was his addiction to painkillers as a result of liposuction. And when Kanye West, hi Con to me, and when Kanye West was interviewed by TMZ, and other major news publications, not just TMZ, about why he chose to get liposuction, the surgery that ended his mother's life. The exact surgery that ended his mother's life. When they asked him why he got liposuction, his response was, "Because I do not want you guys talking about me the way you talk about Rob Kardashian. I do not want you guys talking about me the way you talk about Rob Kardashians. Do you know you guys made him get on a plane from my wedding and fly home so he didn't have to be on camera and on film because you guys called him fat and sloppy. And I didn't want that same fate for me." Imagine a world where a Black man who has lost his mother as a result of liposuction, willingly signing up to get liposuction because he is traumatized by the disrespect. TMZ, who is deep, in my opinion, deep inside the Kardashians' pockets, for dragging their brother, their natural born blood brother, that he's afraid of suffering that same fate. Why would a man who is on the precipice of billionaire status, the precipice of glory, of fame, with a beautiful family emerging, with notoriety, with accolades, with his own up and coming shoe brand and clothing line. Why would he reduce himself down to the vanity that he does himself doesn't even believe in at a fundamental piece? Look at all of his early records before Kim: Gold Digger, Fame, all of the lights. You hear it, the blinding lights of being fame, of being relevant, the struggle for relevancy, that it drove him to doing the surgery that killed his rock. Something that a normal person who's operating and is in a sane, stable mind would never consider. Never. But why? Because his wife, in my opinion, is so addicted to the fame, to the music, to the lights, that he was driven to do something that was fundamentally against his own common sense. And so when he says, I survived the shot, how I get to you and almost die, I felt it in my core. I survived Chicago, the city that got the #1 murder per capita rate in the world. Well, not the world, but in the United States. I survived that, and I get to you and almost die in more ways than one: emotionally, physically. Do y'all remember Kanye going blind, cutting shapes and symbols into his head? He went from being able to conduct an interview with a continuous stream of consciousness. And I watch old Kanye interviews. Please, I implore you guys to go watch before Kim, the old ones. Wasn't nothing wrong with this man. Get with her, and now you see he can't even continue a thought. His mind is just so all over the place. It's like life is happening so fast inside of him and in his mind as a result of, my opinion, this relationship. Survive the shy, get to you, and almost die. That was a deep line. He said, I'm finally tired of coming and going. Make up your mind. This is a metaphor for gaslighting. Because if you ever want to know if somebody has been gaslit by somebody in their life, they will say things like, I'm not sure I heard what I thought I heard. They'll question reality. They'll question your stability in their life, because when somebody is a master manipulator, the one thing they need to control you is to keep you on eggshells, to make you confused about whether or not they're going to stay or going to go. They need that anxiety. They prey on your insecurity and your anxiety to destroy you and to control you. And so when he says in that line, I'm finally tired of coming and going, make up your mind, meaning you don't know if you want me or if you don't want me. And I'm tired of living on the edge of your acceptance. I'm tired of living on the edge of your acceptance. He says, I ain't come to pick up the kids to pick a fight, meaning every time I show up, you want to emotionally drain me. If you guys ever saw that movie, it was Two Can Play That Game with Vivica Fox, and I think was Taraji in that movie? No, Monique, Vivica Fox, a few other cast members. One of the premises of that movie was the transfer of emotion. That was one of the foundations of that movie, that Vivica Fox was trying to convey, that if you want to control your man, you have to play by these rules. But please be advised that there will come a time where he will try that transfer of emotional energy bullshit. And what does someone do when they want to suck you in emotionally? They pick a fight with you. They pick a fight and they exploit that fight to gaslight you into an emotionally vulnerable state. So he said, I just came to be a good dad. I ain't come to fight. But every time I show up, you want to fight. You want to suck me back in. Then he goes on to say, pushing me over the edge. And I told you guys, if you watch my lives about Kanye and Kim, I break this down so deep, because this is why I was always on Kanye's side, because I understand. I feel like God, I have a discernment, a strong discernment to be able to look at something and say, that's some bullshit. You are playing a game. You are running a play, and you are trying to emotionally manipulate this man. You are using his triggers and his trauma to get him to do something to himself. Because all weapons formed against you are not actual physical weapons. Sometimes somebody can form a weapon against your mind. They can form a weapon against your mind, get you in a space mentally where you are questioning your own sanity, you're questioning your own faith, you're questioning your ability to continue on, you're questioning whether or not you deserve to be here. The smear campaign, the idea that you're not good enough as a father, the idea that you're not good enough for my attention, you're not good enough to make me walk away from fame, you're not good enough, you're just not good enough. And they use that to emotionally charge and trigger you and make you act crazy on social media so they can say, I never said anything. I never did anything, because it's the subtlety. When you have been gaslit by somebody for years and years and years, they can do something so small that the general public wouldn't even get it. But to you, it will destroy you. And that's what Kim was doing by wearing that coat he bought her within that picture of Pete Davidson. That's what Kim was doing when she advised Pete Davidson, in my opinion, to send that text message to Kanye saying, I'm in bed with your wife. It was an emotionally triggering and traumatizing and charged act. And I never fell for it. So let's get into it. After he says, pushing me over the edge, don't know if I'm falling or flying. He's basically saying that he knows that he's taking a risk, that by leaving this emotionally damaged, toxic relationship after all these years, he don't know if he gonna fall and that this will destroy him because of the smear campaign, the assault against his reputation, the possibility that he'll lose his children. He don't know if he's gonna fall from this or if God is telling him, no, baby, you gonna fly. And this is something I tell my clients all the time. Because if you're new to my channel, I call myself a sister coach. So I coach women, primarily women, on how to build bigger, better, and braver. And I do this kind of motivational speaking to them where I tell them when they're in bad situations how to get out. And I act as like an emotional sounding board to help you see what you might not know is in front of you. And so when Kanye said that, it resonated with me so deeply, because that's something I always tell my clients. I said, don't be so afraid of losing that you forget to win. And that is the one thing manipulators prey on. And your narcissistic, manipulative, significant others, boyfriends, girlfriends, mothers, fathers, they prey on your fear. They prey on your inability to see the forest from the trees. They think that you are so weak minded. You are so weak minded that without them, you would fail. You would fail. They make you believe that you are not deserving or worthy of more. So when Kanye said, I don't know if I'm falling or flying, I felt it in my soul. I said, Kanye, you're flying, brother. You are flying. When you cut off that negative energy, when you free yourself from a gaslighting, manipulative relationship, for that first year, you are going to feel out of control. You will feel like you are having an out of body experience. Why? Because you don't know what it's like to operate with a free thought. Because when you've been in a manipulation for so long, you are filtering all of your thoughts through the guise of your manipulator. You haven't been free in years. All you're thinking is, if I say that, how she gonna feel? If I do that, how he gonna feel? If I move that way, what he gonna think? If I slide this way, what he gonna say? You are on eggshells. And so when you are put out into the world free of those eggshells, you get confused. You get bewildered from the movie. What did the guy say in the movie? You get confused. You get bewildered. You get lethargic. Remember when he said that in the movie? That's what happens when you are free of your manipulator. You get confused. You get bewildered. You get lethargic because you don't know how to operate alone. You've been so tied, so tethered. You've been so damn tethered that you don't know how to get out. Y'all seen the movie, this follow-up sequel to Get Out? With the tethering, you be so tethered, you don't even know how to get out. That's a bar. And when you get untethered, you don't know if you fall in the flying. Kanye, you're flying. You keep flying, brother. You keep flying. You fly. your way all the way to glory. All the way to glory. Then he goes on to say, how many nights I pray, how many times. Notice he said, I pray. Notice he went from the plural. See, I pay attention to this kind of stuff. Notice he went from the plural, we, to the singular, I. I. Because in the next line, he goes, no matter what we say, he goes from how many nights I pray. She was not a praying wife. That man was running Sunday service every single Sunday, but yet and still, when he felt desolate in his marriage, he felt emotionally void. He felt he didn't know if he was falling or flying. He was praying. I was praying. Baby, where was you? Now it wasn't we prayed, but it didn't work. It wasn't we prayed, but we failed. It was I prayed. I prayed. How many times? How many times did I beg you to join me on this service to the Lord? How many? And I know he wanted to move her to Wyoming, build his own community, build his own ecosystem. He talked about it constantly. Kanye had a greater calling over his life. Kim wasn't here for it. She wasn't here for the voice of God the way he wanted to talk to the Lord and lead his family, as the man should, according to if you are a Bible, if you believe in the Bible. She wasn't for that. So how many nights I prayed? How many nights I prayed? How many times? And she was nowhere to be found in that prayer. Hold on, let me get back to the lyrics. 1 second. Oh no, I deleted the freaking lyrics. Sorry, guys. I had it on my iPad, and I think when I tapped it, it went away. But I got it back now. He goes on to say, no matter what we say, God will decide. God will decide. And I think he's trying to say, no matter what we say, no matter what the news says, no matter what we say to each other, no matter what you say about me, no matter what the media tries to perpetrate, God got the final say. God will decide. God will decide. He reinforces it. It's the reinforcement for me, and I love it. No matter what we say, no matter what we, the general public, who agrees with what he's doing, who disagrees with what he's doing, who thinks that he's crazy, maybe those who think that she's crazy, no matter what we say, no matter the noise, God got the final say. God will decide what's truth and what's real and what is meant to shine in this matter. And he reinforces it. God will decide. God will decide. He believes it, and he will. He goes on to say, call the divine. Call the divine, meaning I already gave it to God. And I love it. Give your battle. Sometimes you think you got to fight people. You think you got to drag people. You think you got to pull people down. You think you got to fight fire with fire. No, the best way to strike down an enemy is to give the battle to God. And that is honestly is the way that I've always run my life. You got to give it to God. Nobody can fight for you the way God can. Sometimes you got to just let folks ruin themselves. No, self-sabotage is the only way. And I talked about this in my other lives when I talk about the ego. It's a live I did about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. I talk about the ego. When you're dealing with somebody who is driven by their ego, who operates from ego, the only way to take them down is to let them self-sabotage, because it's their own ego, their own arrogance will destroy them. No one else can. Because somebody who's a master manipulator is always thinking of ways on how to manipulate you, the human. They're always looking for the exit, the out, the strategy, the spin. They're always looking for it, but it's their own ego that'll take them down. You wait long enough and they'll self-sabotage every single time. He goes on to say, call the divine. He already gave it to God. The stars will align. Stars will align. He reinforces that faith again. See how he says God will decide. God will decide. Stars will align. Stars will align. He's saying I already gave it to God, and God already confirmed to me that he got my back. The stars will align. He says it with certainty. The stars will. Not I hope. Not I pray. Not I'm wishing. Stars will align. Meaning I gave it to God, and God already answered my prayer. He goes, love my mama, but sometimes dad was right. I think he's talking about God as dad. Love my mama, but sometimes dad was right. He's basically saying, even though my mother believed that you should stand by your family, maybe, You should see it through to the end. You should be a committed man, a godly man, and stick by, make a family with a woman and stay with her. Because that's what Kanye was doing. He goes on, but sometimes dad was right. Meaning I spoke to God, mama, and God said that he ain't in this no more. God ain't in this no more. So I love you, mama, and I know you will want me to be the stand-up God who stands by my family. But sometimes dad was right. And I think he's talking about God as his dad, not his actual father, in my opinion. He says, take his hand, talking about God. Hold on with all your might. Definitely talking about God. When you're lost in the light, call on the light. Hallelujah. When you're lost in the light, when you can't see, when you think the devil is coming for you, you call on the light. And that's God. When you think the devil is coming for you, that is the precise moment that you fall to your knees and you call on the light and you ask God to cover you, to save you, to guide you, to deliver you, to empower you, and you give it to God. And you have faith that God will come because God will decide. When you're lost in the light, call on the light. God, I love that. I love Kanye West. If you ain't know, now you know. When you're lost in the light, call on the light. I believe that, Kanye. When you lost, you call on God, and by golly, he will answer. He says, follow the signs, walk in the shine. He said, God will send you a message. God will send you the signals. God will send you the answer. God will put a calling on your heart so heavy that you will be called to answer. And when that happens, you follow the signs. And when you do that, you're walking in the shine. He's basically saying, don't operate off your emotion anymore, Kanye. Don't operate off of impulse and anger. You operate off of only the direct signs I send you. When I put a calling on your heart, you answer. When I put something in your spirit, you do it. You follow the signs I send you, and I promise you'll walk in the shine, meaning you will continue to glow, you will continue to flourish, you will continue to prosper. And by golly, if we don't have Kim Kardashian right now in court for this, in court for that, making a complete fool of herself, in my opinion, by dating this guy who's branding her name on him, laying in the bed, exploiting her children on social media, having her sex tape come back. There is a warfare happening over them, in my opinion, in some capacity. And God has removed Kanye West from that toxic situation. Now, I don't wish no harm on those women, because I don't know them. But I do think that based on what Kanye is saying in these lyrics, that perhaps maybe she needs to spend a little bit more time in prayer and talking to God, which is not something I ever heard those ladies talk about really on their show. The only time they mention God is when they would make jokes and say Bible, which is something else they stole and admitted to stealing from one of their friends. They've been conning their whole life. Lord have mercy, in my opinion, allegedly, because these are all just my opinions. It's um So yes, guys. So that's the breakdown on the lyrics. I was about to get into the chat, but I'll be trying not to get into the chat too much because I be getting distracted. But thank you guys so very much. Oh, thank you, Danita, for becoming a member. Oh my God, I'm so happy to have you. Um, I'm trying to reach a certain level of members so that I can start doing private lives where I could talk to you guys more intimately about some of the coaching that I do. Um, and like just helping people to kind of build their life the way that they dream of and getting out of their own way. I'm very analytical. If you've watched any of my other lives, I like to dissect the facts and get to the root cause of certain situations and then help you plan a path forward and chart a course for your life. So if you're interested in any service like that, you can always check me out on my business website, which is www.gltcareer.com. That's www.garylarrytomcareer.com, where you can book life and career coaching sessions with me if that's something you would ever be interested in. But I would love to do members only lives where we have sort of these conversations where I can just put some motivation and positivity into your life about getting out of your own way, building better for yourself, charging forward, and keeping yourself motivated despite whatever bad situations you get yourself into, and how to spot people who you need to stay away from, people who just spirit vultures. So Thank you so very much, everybody, for stopping into the live. I appreciate you guys for coming in. I'm gonna read through some of the comments real quick and see if there's anything I need to respond to, and we'll do that for a couple minutes, and then I'll head out. How you gonna have a show and not show the show? Mm. Bar, Nikki baby. Kanye did say that. It's nothing but smoke screen and smoke and mirrors. Smoke screen and smoke and mirrors. Man, oh man, oh man. But yes, please do keep praying for Kanye. Pray for deliverance of that family as well. I hope everything works out for them. I don't wish them no ill, but you know, don't do smear campaigns against people and try to destroy people in the media because things aren't working out in your favor anymore. That's something I just don't agree with. I don't agree with whatsoever. God did resurrect him. He did, in my opinion. Man, that's why I think he's very protective of his energy now. He tries to cover his eyes and cover his face a lot. If you guys didn't notice, he wear like masks and stuff like that. I think it's because he knows that it's like an energy warfare against him. He don't want to get sucked back in, man. You can get sucked back into that. You can get sucked back into that. But thank you guys so much for joining the live, for hanging out with me on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. If any more important topics come up, I'll definitely go live again. But until then, and as always, it's a mirror. Well, all views expressed here on this channel are just allegedly, in my opinion. Why? Because I do not know these people. Have a great day, guys, and talk to you next time. Bye.